Welcome to I'm Too Busy, an interview-based show hosted by a talented makeup artist, Christina Flach. Christina offers viewers a unique blend of personal stories, inspiring journeys, and practical beauty tips. Join the conversation as Christina features successful individuals from various industries who share their insights on health, wellness, makeup, and the keys to their success. So now, please welcome the host of I'm Too Busy, Christina Flach.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Too Busy TV, where we dive into the lives of inspiring entrepreneurs and industry professionals who are making waves despite their packed schedules. I am your host, Christina Flach, and today I am so excited to have a very special guest from the United Kingdom, and it's 11 o'clock there, so she's very kind. She's been revolutionizing educational access for entrepreneurs and startups. Please join me in welcoming Sofia Azam, founder of Skills for Startups.
Oh, thank you so much, Christina. It's a real pleasure to be here. And what a wonderful show you've made.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's very kind. I know it's so late for you. So let's just dive into your life. So what was the specific moment or inspiration that led you to transition from government regulation to creating Skills for Startups?
I think it was quite a long journey and quite a passionate journey for alternative education. So I come from a standardized traditional civil service background with governments, particularly worked within the education system for the exams regulator in the United Kingdom. And often we place a lot of emphasis on tests and a lot of emphasis on formal education. But what I found throughout my journey is that there is a grey area in the education system where young people don't do too well academically, but are incredibly creative and have fantastic ideas for businesses. So the whole purpose of Skills for Startups is really to champion the underdog. And it's those individuals that perhaps didn't do too well in the schooling system, but have a fantastic purpose in life and really do want to improve society and make a difference. So Skills for Startups stands for those startups and those individuals that are powering through their innovation, through their creativity, and they are on this incredible journey to really make a difference and improve society. And it could be any type of idea. It could be an AI or a system that they have put together to improve the environment, perhaps, or it could be a simple idea to improve the beauty industry, the fashion industry. So we're essentially working with a plethora of startups at the moment. And Skills for Startups really does accommodate all those that have this incredible dream to make a difference and to be financially free. And we put this together, this entire initiative together, just literally 12 months ago. So we're only 13 months old, and
Wow.
we're only 13 months old, and 300 startups, around 320 startups are now in our ecosystem. A predominantly diverse leaders and female leaders, those that perhaps are not your obvious choice for funding, we are supporting them.
So can you explain the philosophy behind the name Skills for Startups and what your organization stands for? I mean, I know you've already gone into it a little bit, but how do these people find out about you? How do is there certain things they have to have for them to be working with you? Do they have to, is it just a concept, or are most of these people already in business?
Most of the founders that are currently working with us are raising funds, and they have launched their ideas. So they are in the business market space and they are generating revenue. And often when they come across Skills for Startups, it's through our business shows. So we delivered around 4 business shows. Actually, we're on the 4th one that's coming up on 9th of April, but we have already delivered 3 roadshows throughout the 2024 pilot study. and they heard about us through these partnerships we've secured, like companies like Google, and it's through our branding and our public relations that they heard about this entire new ecosystem that perhaps is a little bit different from your average business expo. Because what we do is we give them the essential skills that founders need to not fall in the failure rates, because we've got a 90% failure rate in the United Kingdom. So when they're coming to us, they are already aware that the odds are against them. And what we do is put them in a position where they actually they invest in their skills. So they invest in their education to be successful founders. And that gives them the fighting chance to raise the revenue, to raise the funding, to have a prosperous business journey. And so far, we've produced 23 high performing founders just in 2024 out of 300 starters that have come to us. And bearing in mind, we are the new kid on the block. So we're literally breaking the space at the moment. So you've got all these powerful business expos in the United Kingdom, and then you have all sorts of masterclasses being sold to these founders. But what Skills for Startups does is actually focuses in on the founder first and then the business model. There is nothing on this planet that teaches you to be a successful founder. You've got qualifications in leadership, coaching, mentoring, but nothing that tells you what a successful founder looks like, but Skills for Startups does. And that's the revolutionary concept behind Skills for Startups. We create high performing founders, and we are going to generate 100,000 founders by 2034, all financially free, multimillionaires. And that's our ambition.
And so what are a few of the traits that the typical founder has, and what do you do to improve upon it?
I think what's lacking at the moment is how we communicate and build relationships with clients. It's not always natural. We could have the best ideas in the world, the best concepts, the best systems, but it's so difficult to get that idea in front of the people that are going to purchase that product. So often what the barrier is the lack of articulation of your idea or your vision, the lack of communication. And that's what we build, is that confidence around communication and those positive relationships that you need with your consumers to have that long-term revenue and quality revenue come through your company. That never underestimate the power of compassion and being kind in business, because that's what gets you the clients and the partnerships. And that's why we are here today on your famous podcast, Christina, because 13 months on, that winning formula worked for Skills for Startups. And remember, we are a startup that supports other startups through the power of education and skills. And that's a powerful message, because we too are a startup. Now, if we didn't show our credentials and our integrity and our honesty and compassion, you wouldn't ask me to be on your podcast. So just being here is a winning, it shows there's a winning formula with Skills for Startups. That 13 months in, it has had the guts and the courage to go out to the United States of America and say, we're going to launch a business show there. And we are only 13 months in.
That's just so extraordinary. So how much time do you typically spend with these founders when you're working with them? Is it one-on-one, or is it group, or how does it go?
Often it's around 6 weeks that we sit with them, 1-2 days per week. And we create an environment where they don't become dependent on Skills for Startups. So we give them 6 weeks of that sounding board and that safety net, and then they go off and they are a lot more confident with their business dealings, their negotiations, how they recruit, and how they want to execute their vision. So those 6 weeks, that 6-week program that we've put together is very critical, because that happens in between those shows that we put on. They require that ongoing support. They require that on-demand support, and that's what we do within those 6 weeks.
When do you notice a big difference? Like, tell me an example of some founders, some success stories that you've had that were just so remarkable that stand out to you.
I think there's one individual that really does stand out to me, and she is an incredible woman. And I had the pleasure of funding her. So I always lead by example. So I had the privilege of molding her business 12 months ago, and her business is called Juicy Vibes Healthy Smoothies. And The difference with this juice bar is that it has been developed by a scientist and a personal trainer. So she knows what she's doing, and she knows the importance of nutrition and health and well-being. And I saw her go from literally an embryonic model, gym-based, and all her clients were members of the gym, to now heading towards festivals, roadshows, and getting a contract with Pennsylvania. So she's now coming to the United States of America with Skills for Startups. And that for me has been a huge change, a huge transition for this solo entrepreneur. She's on her own and she's now breaking America. And
it's so exciting.
I know it's very emotional, because when I see somebody who's come from nothing, literally nothing, and had a dream to change people's health and lifestyle, because it's been a game changer for people who've got bipolar depression, stress, anxiety. She's got the winning formula to improve your health, your mental health, the whole package. And seeing her go from January 2024, a few customers every day, to now selling out every single day and making a profit every single day. And for her to be a strong woman in her 30s to do this and now be financially free, that for me, I feel like I have done justice to Skills for Starters, because that was my biggest end game for Skills for Starters, that I just wanted to touch one person's life, and now it's come to over 300 starters and possibly hundreds in the United States of America now looking at us. So all of this is, for me, it's surreal. I'm like a Cinderella story. Literally, I am an underdog. I have a background in education. I have a background in civil service, government education, and I've transitioned into an entrepreneur, which is so unheard of. For a civil servant to go into entrepreneurship is so unheard of.
Definitely, right.
So it's just a very emotional journey. And you've asked me such a critical question, because it's a reflective question, and that's just one example that I could give you. But there's several more self-sustainable men, women, young entrepreneurs, really doing phenomenal work in society and really improving. There's one youngster that we have that is improving literacy in schools, and that's a young entrepreneur that's really a game changer. And all of these youngsters that are coming through and they really want to become a phenomenal business leaders, I feel like Skills for Startups is now becoming that pillar for them and that beacon for them to show them that journey of what success looks like.
So what do you think would be the top 3 things advice that you could give people that are entrepreneurs and have a startup? What would be 3 things that you would say, you would advise? I know they should take your course, but give me 3 things that you think would inspire people to want to take your course.
I think what would inspire them to join Skills for Startups ecosystem is our energy. You need energy day in, day out to run a business. And Skills for Startups is the epiphany of energy. It's a ball of energy. When you join us and you join our shows, you get to see how dynamic this entire concept is, how different it is from any other business expo, because it's a game changer for your business. It essentially will give you that step change. You will see an outcome from what we teach you within our 13 skill-centric masterclasses. And we jam pack 9 essential skills in that day. And the scene is set by some of the most top industry leaders. So you get incredible experts from our ecosystem. You get proper high standard masterclasses, educational driven quality that allows you to become this underconfident individual in, say, something like selling your products, right down to understanding what sales is, the definition of sales, and sealing that deal. We can give you the real life scenarios and practical solutions to your challenging problems. That's what we can give you. It's the power of the tools, the power and the tools and the skills, the three critical areas that you need to be a successful founder. That's what we can give you. And sometimes it does take the skills around energy and grit, which sometimes formal education doesn't teach you any of that. And what we can teach you is the realities of the situation of what happens if you don't have these skills and if you don't have the right education backing you. That's what we can give you, and to be part of our ecosystem. Essentially, what you're saying is that you want to be financially free. You want to be multimillionaires. That's your end game. Is that you want a successful business, and we can give you that through our experts. It's our industry experts, our skills, our power, our energy. That's what we can give you.
I am Christina Flach, and we are going to take our first commercial break. We are chatting with Sofia Azam, and we'll be right back.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. I'm Christina Flach. We are chatting with Sofia Azam. She's the founder of Skills for Startups. Sophie, thank you for being here again. So tell me a little bit more. How many different people do you have that are teaching your course?
So we work on a partnership business model. So we have probably around 15 companies that work with us, and they are our artificial intelligence and technology partners that look around AI skills and technology elements to our program, because that's now influencing how we shape our businesses. And often automation and systems really support startups with their journey, especially if they are trying to prolong their business lifespan. Technology often speeds that up and makes you a lot more financially sustainable. And then we have a group of partners that look at soft skills and straight business skills. So we have a visiting professor that comes over from Barcelona to teach us around business modeling and financial forecasting. And that's an obvious skill that we all need as founders. How do you operate without a business strategy or a financial model? But you'd be surprised how many startups have fantastic ideas and they run with those ideas, but they don't have a business strategy. And often investors look for the full package when you're pitching, and they are looking at business plans. And then we have other partners that look at elements of some really essential skills like sealing deals, understanding sales principles, consumer loyalty. So We find that customer service is very important skill to have as a founder, and how you manage people, how you manage your clients, actually helps you to then sustain your business in the long term. And when you're starting out, it's a very competitive market wherever you're positioned, unless you've created a market of your own. You are competing with other businesses. So we do teach how do you have that competitive edge. So we have partners that several different companies that work incredibly close with us on all our business shows, and they do take on some advisory work with some of these startups. But often, many of these founders start with me, and I am the face of Skills for Startups. And as a natural educationalist and somebody who's worked on qualifications and assessments for half a decade, I do set the scene and the foundations for these startups, and then they go elsewhere for advanced expertise or different sort of specialist areas that they might want to branch into. So yes, we have a group of 15 partners, and that's growing probably to about 20 or 25 businesses coming on board to be part of this powerful initiative that is going global now.
How has your experience as a government regulator informed your approach to educational design for entrepreneurs?
I think it's completely different. I think what government teaches you is about a set of rules, a set of way of going through a route, ending up in university and pursuing a career in law or something. But entrepreneurship is one of those areas that is sometimes there's an argument that you can't teach it. You've got to live it. You've got to be an entrepreneur, and you've got to learn from your mistakes. So entrepreneurship is a lot more creative. The skills are slightly different. You have to practically launch your idea. You've got to practically seal those deals. You've got to practically listen to people, make critical decisions about your funding, about your monetary situation. It's completely different from formal education. What the government has taught me is standards. I do believe that as business leaders, we have to have we have to have the correct behavior, the correct character as an entrepreneur. We have to show integrity. So those elements are very important that you learn in traditional academia, and I think that's very important that we as business leaders, we're purpose led. So we have a code of conduct. And in business, when we liaise or we negotiate deals, there is a prim and proper way of doing things, and that's where the government element does really help, and the traditional academia can help. But then there's elements of entrepreneurship that it is about really grit. It's about grassroots, getting out there, going to networking, learning how to network. You probably don't get taught that in education. You have to pick that up. You have to have a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, I think it's very difficult to get to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're putting your livelihood on the line. Sometimes you put your marriage on the line, your home's on the line. A lot is on the line, and you're working hundreds of hours a week. Nobody teaches that in traditional academia. Nobody teaches you that your entire life is on the line when you're running a business. So that is all entrepreneurship, and you've got to find different ways to survive and be a successful business leader. And for me, Skills for Startups has capitalized on that raw data and that research around what are those practical solutions that we can give founders to help them have that work-life balance, but also how can we teach them not to make mistakes, or if you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Your first startup might fail, but you might succeed in your second startup or your third startup. It's all about clever strategy, and that's what we teach. It's clever practical strategy and how we can elongate your success story.
Do you find that it's that the classic CEO entrepreneur is constant, they're workaholics? Do you teach them to have some balance in their life? Because it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I find that, it's really hard for some people, you're not getting, it's the quality of work that's super important. Do you find that you have to teach that to some people, or
yes, definitely.
Is that not an issue?
It is a big issue at the moment that we, post COVID-19, that our homes have turned into our offices and there is no boundaries. And often we are spending hours and hours in our, I'm right now in my living room, and I'm working. This podcast is part of my work, and it's 11 o'clock at night. So essentially, we don't switch off. We don't say no to opportunities. This is the reality of entrepreneurship. Every deal that comes through, every meeting that comes through, you take it there and then. You seize the opportunity, and it's very difficult for us to sit there and say to founders, you've got to switch off, because at the end of the day, every penny counts, every pound counts, every dollar counts. It pays their mortgage, it pays their bills. So how do you do that? And I think for us, we do work with a company that she's going to be running a very incredible masterclass on 9th of April in central London. And she looks at burnout for startups, and she is teaching. So she's a menopause expert, actually. So she does a lot of work around with women who are going through menopause. And we've been discussing how can she utilize her expertise to support startup founders with burnout and health and well-being. And so she's putting something together for us to look at perhaps re-educating founders around the fact that it's okay to take a half a day off on Friday and go to the cinema. It's okay to take a half a day off, go down to a pub or go down to a club, or spend some time with your family and friends. That doesn't mean you're not working hard as an entrepreneur. It's okay to have that, because essentially that will give you more respite. And then when you come back to your office on Monday morning, you're a lot more fresher, and you can go about your entire day of meetings without feeling fatigue or tired. So we are starting to bring in some of these medical experts or scientific experts who understand the human body and the impact it can have if you work nonstop. And like you said, we don't think about we don't really think about ourselves. What we think about is, if we don't take the opportunity and we lose that opportunity, we will lose business. That's our mindset, and we are in a hurry. We're in a hurry to make our millions, and we're not slowing down. And often marriages do break down. People lose friends. I lost a lot of friends when I first started out in business. Believe it or not, I'm probably a classic case of somebody who works nonstop. I've ended up in A&E twice because of anxiety, stress, and it's not good. And those experiences have now started to help our ecosystem. And that's why we're saying to one or two companies that work in the space of care, self-care, come into our ecosystem, be part of our program, and teach us how to take care of ourselves.
What were some of the biggest challenges of launching not one, but 3 educational startups? And do you think the educational space is easier or harder to do a startup? And do you have any, and my third part of the question would be, do you have any ideas for a 4th?
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Setting up 3 companies that are educational are all interlinked. So for me, it's easy because I come from an education background. But all 3 looked at essentially entrepreneurship, soft skills, business skills, the power of soft skills to get you into your ideal career. That's how it started out. Whether you want to be in law, medicine, or you want to be an engineer, it really doesn't matter. You need character. You need emotional intelligence. So all 3 companies are underpinned by soft skills and business skills. So it's easy for me to set those up because I understand the power of compassion, the power of passion in whatever you pursue, whether it's a career in a high flying, you're trying to get into a high flying job, or you want to become a founder or an entrepreneur. It really doesn't matter. All 3 companies cater for that. Do I have a 4th? I may have 3 other companies that I'm looking at, particularly looking at AI robotics as business partners for those founders that are single. So I'm a single founder. It's a lonely journey. There might be another company coming up that we're producing where we're looking at formulating a business partner that can predict your KPIs and can mitigate your risks of failure and elongate your business success. So we are looking at a different area of a business. And I think that could be a game changer, because there are 1.2 million single founders in this country, and not all of them have co-founders or business partners. What if we could create a business partner for every single founder in this country and globally? I think it could be a real game changer and very cost effective for many founders out there that have smaller budgets. So yes, we do have more and more ideas and scientific experiments taking place behind closed doors, and also more qualifications. We want more quality qualifications and short courses that really do help start fast-paced startups that don't have the time to do an MBA or have time to do a formal qualification, but they really want to invest in their skills. They want to be the best leader in that sector. They want to be the best marketeer, the best at beauty, fashion. They are looking up to some of the greatest entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs. We want to make it happen. Why not? Why can't we create 50 more Steve Jobs? That's what Skills to Start is all about. And the other companies, it's about a vision and giving people giving people the opportunity and the building blocks to not just dream, but to execute that dream, make that dream a reality. So yes, we have loads more of ideas coming through. And I don't stop, by the way. I don't stop. I've probably not rested in probably 4 years. So really, I think this is what I live and breathe, is how many businesses can I successfully inspire in the next 10 years? And I'm hoping it will be 100,000 startups that we inspire by 2034.
We are going to take our second commercial break, and we will be right back with Sofia Azam.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth, and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to I'm Too Busy. We are chatting with Sofia Azam. She's the founder of Skills for Startups. Sofia, your brand emphasizes the importance of skills-based learning. How do you determine which skills are most critical for new entrepreneurs? And what did you learn from each of the 3 startups?
So essentially, we probably have gone with our definition of what entrepreneurs require through research and data. By looking at startups that have already made those mistakes and failed, that's how we have pinpointed certain skills. Like we've already touched on articulation of your vision, being concise, and you know how important that is as an entrepreneur. That is a very critical skill to have. Understanding your competitors is another example of a skill that we look at. And negotiation, the power of public speaking. I'm publicly speaking right now. It's something that you have to practice and pick up. It's not always easy for an entrepreneur to understand the value of those soft skills. And what I've probably learned from my journey through the three companies is that I wasn't always confident speaking. I wasn't always confident with or having. It's almost like it's that imposter syndrome. Are people going to believe in this? Believe in the value of this business? Will they believe in the value? Will they buy into the vision? So what I've learned through the three businesses that as a founder, you have to believe in your vision. You have to believe in your mission. And it doesn't matter what goes on around you with the rejections and perhaps the mistakes you make through your business journey. You yourself have got to stick by the vision and you've got to execute that vision. That's what I've learned from the three businesses. It really doesn't matter how many rejections you have. You've got to keep going with your vision.
Yes, you have to be relentless, right? So what do you think, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but what do you think makes Skills for Startups different from other business education programs on the market? What do you think are the biggest differences?
I think the difference for us is that it's reality. We've got hundreds of case studies now of data in our ecosystem. So we go by how did a business perform before COVID-19, under COVID-19, post COVID-19? What were the pressure points? So we're looking at the reality of the situation and how policy changes around us, how industry changes around us, how tough the competition is, living cost rises. All of this impacts how we build a business, how we launch our business, how we scale our business. So it's the reality of the situation is what makes our program so different from perhaps the theory of business, which we can all learn and really probably gain a lot of insights out of. But until you've actually lived it and seen others live their businesses and really studied Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, they've had so many failures and one or two ideas become, their babies and then they become billionaire valuations. It's these journeys that are really critical to what we're teaching and what we're delivering to founders. And that's what makes us a lot different from traditional business schooling. We are literally an alternative business school and probably Britain's very first mobile business school.
I love that. Can you tell me a little bit about your commitment to accessibility and making education available to all sections of society?
Yeah, I think it's very important that education isn't constricted or there isn't any form of unconscious bias when it comes to the definition of education. From the moment we are born, we all have the right to dream and we all have a right to an education. And if we want to go into a specific career, we have a right to dream and access that education to go into that career. And it's the same with entrepreneurship. If you have a dream or idea, whether you're diverse or a woman, or you want to be financially free and you've had a tough, traumatic life, you have the right to dream and you have the right to be positive, that you can get yourself out of a negative situation through the power of business. And that's what we teach through Skills for Startups. It's a game changer. So many people at the moment have come to me with a lot of trauma, and they've said that being a founder has actually given them that therapy to get over a lot of issues. And I come from the same background where, I lost my mom. It was quite traumatic. And I promised my mom that I was going to become an independent woman and I was going to start my business and I was going to be financially free. And that's what I'm fighting for at the moment. And that's what this is all about. It's about giving people an opportunity to change their circumstances. It shouldn't be restricted to a few. It should be for everybody. Everyone has the right to start a business. Everybody has a right to dream. So let's let people dream.
How do you balance being both the educational visionary and the business leader of your companies?
I think I'm actually quite lucky because I think education and business goes hand in hand. I don't understand why people out there don't understand how important education is to business and the success of business. So when I'm thinking educationally and being a business leader, it comes naturally to me. It's almost like it's a perfect marriage. So for me, um, I can be both without any problems or issues. I think my education teaches me to be a better visionary, a better leader. I've made mistakes as a leader. I've been a bit naive in business at times, but my education has and my learning evolves, and I think that makes me a phenomenal business leader. And to take this and take that risk and scale it to America, it takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of courage and bravery to do what I'm about to do this summer. So I think the education side has really helped me to be a better business leader and be a daredevil and fearless. Yeah.
What do you do when your day isn't flowing? Because
What
we
do I
all
do,
have
sir?
days like that. What do you do when your day isn't flowing? Like when you're just like everything just seems to be going wrong and you just can't think clearly and you just like, what do you do?
I think it's so important to have um, somebody that is your safety net, your true north, as I call it, and that's my sister. I always talk about my sister on every podcast. If I'm having a horrible day where I'm getting rejected and I can't seem to, push that barrier, I just have to move away from. I have to quit that day. I have to switch off that day. I'm not getting anywhere, and I always speak to my sister or just take that sort of advice and say, and sometimes she will give me that sort of therapy that I need to come back the following day and have that fighting spirit. I think often it's so difficult in business at the moment where you're not getting the funding or you're being rejected for any form of investment. Women and diverse leaders are finding it hard. It's very difficult sometimes, and you do have those bad days. I just switch off, and I have a true north, and that's my sister. It's as simple as that.
How important is self-care to you? Like, what do
Yeah.
you do? Do you have a certain diet? Do you have certain exercise that you do? How do you take good care of yourself?
I think because I work with Juicy Vibes Healthy Smoothies, I'm the founder. I have no choice but to be really healthy. I'm on her juice program, so that really helps with my anxiety and my overall health. She also happens to be my personal trainer, so we do a lot of training together as well. So I do have to take care of myself because I do suffer from anxiety and stress, and I'm prone to that because of the trauma I've come from losing my mom. So for me, it's very important, and I will advise others out there, your audiences, that it's so important to do exercise and go for walks, run on the treadmill. It just so happens we have a business in our ecosystem that is all about health and well-being. So I really have to lead by example, and I am leading by example at the moment. So that's what I do, Christina. I just go to the gym and speak to Stacey. Stacey sorts me out. She puts me on her really strict regiment, and some of her juices are really strong and powerful.
Intense.
Very,
Yes, I'm one of those people that has a green juice every day. Um, you mentioned your mother's passing. How long ago was that?
it was 10 years, 2024. So we've just had a 10th anniversary last year, and yeah, it was quite a traumatic 10 years. Nothing feels, time doesn't heal. I don't feel like it healed. I don't feel like I'm healing, but I feel like the business is giving me a purpose to help others. And I think that's what my mum wants me to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put my entire livelihood on the line. And I've sold another business to fund skills for startups now. I've sold my house. I feel like it's my mother saying, this is the route you need to take. But it has been 10 years without her. And I often feel like her spirit is still with me. And I know that's quite cliche, but in reality, she does come to me in my dreams, and often she gives me guidance. So I know I'm on the right path with Skills for Startups.
You know, I've lost my husband, my son, my mother, my business partner, and so many others. I've had a lot of loss. But one of the things that I have learned and that I believe is that we aren't honoring our loved ones by holding on to this. You know, you never get over it, but you learn to manage it. And I also feel that how would I feel if I was looking down on my family and I couldn't comfort them? So I don't think, if you could look at it from that perspective, your mother comes to you in your dreams. That's so beautiful. And, you know, she guides you, but it's a choice on how you choose to, to move forward. You know,
Yeah.
it's, our words are so powerful. And we're going to take a commercial break and we'll come back to this in a minute. We are with Sofia Azam, and I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorek, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Welcome back to I'm Too Busy. Sophie, hello. Can you tell me a little bit more about your upcoming educational eco digital network hub that's launching in 2025?
Yeah, so that's our sister company for Skills for Startups. So Skills for Startups is an in-person business show that travels around the UK and globally. But what we thought was in between, we've got so many startups coming through. So every quarter there's around 100,000 startups being launched just in the UK every quarter. So we thought we'd design something called EE Plus, which is a digital platform. It stands for Eco Plus, Education Ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And it's a platform that's dedicated to actually my mom, Soraya. We're naming it Soraya, the actual robot.
Oh, I love that.
And it's going to be so fantastic because it's going to automate people's business transactions who perhaps have smaller budgets and they're at the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to funding, and they're looking to launch an idea, but they don't have millions of pounds backing them. The system so they come on board on a membership subscription, and they should tap into the system to allow them to actually access the resources they need to launch their idea. But also there's a robotic element to it named Soraya, which is my mom's name, which will actually set their KPIs, predict their performances as a founder, their business, overall business performance, and it will actually predict their financial forecast. And this should actually make life a lot easier for startups who are actually looking to become investment ready. So it's a quite a unique idea that I've come up with for founders that have a lonely journey and don't have adequate support throughout that journey, is to build this digital platform for them to tap into as they go through their fast track process as a startup founder.
What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are struggling to acquire the skills they need to succeed?
Come to Skills for Startups. So, come and see us. Come onto our website, www.skills4startups.com, and find out more about how we can support you. You can contact us anytime, and we can provide you with discovery calls, calls with our experts to get you started. But we have the adequate support and resources to give them that all-round safety for when they begin their journey. And I think that's what people are looking for. It's quite nerve-wracking to launch an idea. You are putting your reputation on the line. So, and we're very compassionate, passionate ecosystem that really have patience with startup founders, especially those that are very new to business. And if you are very new to business, do tap into us, because we do have 13, 14 months then of research and data on how to do things right with minimum risk. And our shows are becoming bigger and bigger, certainly in the UK, and now we're coming to the USA. So really do come to us if you need support with your business ideas or launching your ideas or even building your ideas.
Do you offer support once they graduate? Do you get a lot of your founders contacting you after that they've gone through your course?
Yeah, so some of them are still going through. Obviously, we're at the pilot phase. After they've completed the 6 weeks, they have access to 15, 16 companies within our ecosystem. So they will continue to work with our companies. They will continue to work with Skills for Startups. There is no cutoff point with us. So the whole point of why we're launching the application, the digital app, the EE Plus, that's going to be a game changer, because they're going to be a member. They're going to be a fully fledged member of our ecosystem, and they will forever be learning through us the latest tricks in the trade, the latest skills, what's working, what's not working in their sectors. We want to create as many businesses as possible, so the education never stops. The skills, you will always have to upskill in different areas if you want to be ahead of the game. If you want that competitive edge, you'll have to continue to evolve your business model. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you as long as you need us as you come through our ecosystem.
You've mentioned a 10-year journey to advocate for startups. Where are you in that journey, and what milestones are you most excited about?
I think we've got 330 startups in 13 months in. So I think we're making huge headway. We are superseding my own goals and expectations. I can't believe we are the new kids on the block, and we've already had traction from 300 odd startups. So we are making headway. And I think with the application we bring in, we can easily take on thousands of startup founders month in, month out. So I think maybe in 5 or 6 years' time, the ecosystem will already have perhaps 50,000, 60,000 founders, possibly more. And I've seen ecosystems blow up on Facebook and various other social media platforms. So the power of TikTok and LinkedIn and Facebook is generating huge brand awareness for Skills for Startups at the moment. And I think we have really superseded our expectations. What was the last part of the question? I can't remember.
What are you most excited about? Sounds like you're pretty excited about all of those things that you just mentioned.
Absolutely, Christina. Absolutely.
What is your favorite motto and quote?
What my favorite motto?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Don't listen to the negativity.
That's a good one. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that I have not asked you?
I think it's very important that startup founders understand that the reality of business is hardship and it's grit, and it's not for the faint-hearted. And it's important that people are prepared for that. And I'm hoping Skills for Startups can prepare them at that early stage. But I want everyone to leave a legacy. I want everyone to dream big. I don't want people to use excuses that there are barriers. I think there are reasons for those barriers, and it does make you stronger as a business leader. Don't let your gender, don't let your diversity impact you. And just go for it. It really doesn't matter if you've got peanuts in the bank or if you're multimillionaires, you can do it. Anyone can launch a business.
Thank you, Sophie, for joining me today on I'm Too Busy and sharing your inspiring journey with my audience. Your story shows that with passion, determination, and the right educational foundation, it is possible to build something meaningful that truly makes a difference in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. I'd like to thank all of you for listening today. I'd like to thank Christian, my engineer. I'd like to thank Maya and Avery, and to he who shall be nameless, thank you for making me laugh. I'm Christina Flach, and I will see you next week.
This has been I'm Too Busy with host Christina Flach. Tune in each week as Christina approaches the concept of success holistically, recognizing that achievement is not solely measured by financial triumphs, but also by maintaining a healthy work-life balance and focusing on self-care. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.